This offseason, the Packers offered Aaron Rodgers a 2-year contract extension that would have tied him to Green Bay for 5 more seasons and made him the highest paid quarterback and player in football. Rodgers declined that offer. Proof it's not about the money. Good morning, everybody. Welcome into First Take. Stephen A., I will start with you here. Does this mean Rodgers leaves the Packers?
Well, first things first. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Secondly, you know what? It's not proof that he's going to leave the Packers because, again, they still have his rights, at least for another year, when ultimately if they made the decision to depart from him, it would be cap-friendly to the Green Bay Packers. But once again, you know, this is the kind of thing I have to admit, I saw this story. I saw this breaking news from the great Adam Schefter himself, and I was utterly disgusted. And it was not just at the Green Bay Packers, Molly and Max. It's at all of these NFL aficionados, people that we have working here at this network, people that we have that we see working on the NFL and beyond at other networks and what have you. All the people that have been connected with the National Football League, who's played in the National Football League, who walks around acting like they don't understand a damn thing that I'm saying. The bottom line is this. This is proof of what I've been talking about for months. It's not about football. It's not just about the money. It's not just, and it certainly isn't about football. The Green Bay Packers were 13-3 in back-to-back years under Matt LaFleur as the head coach. They went to back-to-back NFC championship games, which means they were a part of the Final Four for 2 consecutive years. What idiot out there would possibly think this is football? This is not about football. This is about the way that the Green Bay Packers have treated their star player. They have disregarded him. They have dismissed him. They have minimized him. They've disrespected him. And he said, bump y'all. Enough's enough. And to me, to watch and listen to people who are experts on the National Football League, who know football back and forth, who I'm proud to call colleagues, who have forgotten more football than I will ever know, but are prideful men who would speak eloquently and ad nauseum about the need, the zest, the craving for respect, to act like you can't comprehend what the hell Aaron Rodgers has been saying all of these months, this entire offseason, is beyond me. He doesn't want to be a part of the Packers organization because we've seen the evidence from Mark Murphy, who tried to put a different spin on it weeks ago and tried to throw it back on Aaron Rodgers. We know that Matt LaFleur is known for passing the buck and deferring to other people in terms of accountability, which is something else that has turned Aaron Rodgers off. We know Brian Gutekunst is nothing more than an extension of Mark Murphy because he likes his job and he wants to keep it. They have disrespected this man, and you're not buying him off. And this latest story just proves all they're trying to do is recreate a narrative. They knew that Aaron Rodgers wasn't interested in the money. They just did it for public consumption so the rest of us will buy that they want to keep him so they could cover themselves instead of dealing with the accountability that they have for mistreating that man, period.
It's not just about the money. I think money's part of respect. I get the point, Stephen A. It's a larger respect issue. But to me, it's larger than that even. It's not just about the front office respecting Aaron Rodgers. At this point, this is what it's about. And Murphy and Gutekunst have to get through this through their head. And in fact, I'd love for them just to repeat after me. Aaron Rodgers is my boss. That's what they have to say. They have to say it publicly, not just to Aaron Rodgers. Hold a press conference and say together in unison, Aaron Rodgers is our boss, because that's what he is. And let me explain how I mean this. Rodgers' mind will decide his future, and only Rodgers' mind. The contract he has with the Packers is worth nothing. There's not a single thing they can do to make him play football. And he has a lot of options in his career. He could sit out 1 year. Why would they never do that? Because they could get at least 3 first-round draft picks and other stuff for Rodgers. So if your choices, and you know he has lots of options, and your choices are a bounty like you can't believe to rebuild your franchise, and it's already very good except at quarterback if he leaves, or nothing, who in their right mind would take nothing? Now, I know it rankles NFL people for someone to kind of like step out of line because it's a military game with military roots, West Point. And it's a war game, right? You're taking territory and all this stuff. And so they don't like insubordination. They like everyone to know their place, and the players stay here, and the general managers here, and so on. But things have changed. The quarterback is so important now that Tom Brady's the boss. Aaron Rodgers is the boss. And it doesn't come to this in Kansas City because it doesn't have to. Patrick Mahomes is the boss. But certainly Rodgers is. And this reminds me, I have one more point to make. Sure. This reminds me of Dan Gilbert with LeBron. Dan Gilbert was under the impression he was calling the shots. Remember how his little temper tantrum letter he wrote after LeBron left, as though Cleveland had done a single thing for LeBron? Every owner would have done the same thing if they had LeBron James. Then he got it through his head eventually. Okay, I got it. LeBron's the boss. It was too little too late. They should not make that mistake here. Rodgers is probably gone, but they should at least try to change his mind. He is the deciding one, and they have to try to get him to change his mind about them. Here's number 2. Stephen A., could you imagine this? I know, like, everyone's thinking Denver if it's the AFC. If it's the NFC, the Saints still haven't named a starting quarterback, right? If it's the NFC and it's the Saints, could you imagine? I brought up if he goes to if he goes to Denver, him and Mahomes and Herbert in the same division. Could you imagine him and Brady in the same division? Rodgers in a dome with those weapons and that team? Oh, my God.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.